Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to CE-5 Academy. My name is Ashley, and it is an absolute pleasure to have you guys here with us today. I just feel inspired to very briefly speak about the idea of consciousness and how it relates to ET contact, and why we would be interested in exploring consciousness if we are interested in exploring ET contact and ET diplomacy in the future. So I have one question for you guys. What is consciousness in your perspective? From my understanding, we've grown up in a society that we've been told that consciousness is a byproduct of our brain activity, meaning that it stems from matter. Consciousness is nothing without matter. Therefore, that when this physical body is gone, then consciousness is gone. So that is the current understanding that we have on our scientific paradigms, even though consciousness is probably one of the most mysterious subjects to scientists out there to this day. On the other hand, again, this is duality. On the other hand, we have another theory or understanding that is popping up recently in mainstream understandings, especially in the New Age movement, and especially here in the ET contact spheres, which is the idea that consciousness actually is not a byproduct of matter and does not originate from the brain, but that the brain and matter actually originates from consciousness itself. Therefore, what is consciousness? I think we could best describe consciousness as a field or a wave of awareness itself, which to me, in my understanding, I would like to subscribe to the second understanding, not because I've heard it somewhere and it makes sense. Yes, I heard it somewhere and it makes sense, but I've experientially understood it for myself, meaning I've created my own experiments on consciousness, and I've understood that actually consciousness transcends physical reality. It is unlimited, it is boundless, and it goes way further and beyond what we can understand to this day. Even me right now throwing around the word consciousness, I still don't fully understand it yet, and I don't think we will be able to fully understand it, because grasping consciousness as a whole is pretty challenging, I would say, in this physical form or in this limited vibrational frequency. Same thing as being in a forest. Very difficult to have a clear view and picture of the entire forest if you're in the forest. So the idea of consciousness and ET contact and how that relates to ET contact, I would say that it has a pretty big relationship with ET contact and the universal life that is out there, because, on my understanding, advanced ET civilizations or advanced extra-dimensional entities have completely understood and made true for themselves that consciousness is not a byproduct of who they are, but actually is beyond their physical bodies, and therefore they themselves, their awareness, their consciousness is far beyond their physical body or the physical realms around them in that moment. So understanding that, how does that relate to ET contact? Well, basically the idea is that when we do ET contact or CE-5s, we generally tend to go outside in a field somewhere, have certain protocols that we follow, meet up with external individuals, and sit down and initiate the protocols so that we can experientially experience something outside of ourselves, meaning that it would be an object that we would see and we would experience it outside. But is that actually true? Are we actually experiencing that object or the sighting or the UFO sighting that we're seeing outside of ourselves? The idea with this is that, yeah, everything's outside of ourselves. Right now, you're seeing me on a computer or a mobile screen outside of who you are, but are you really sure that that's the case as to what's going on? Are you not having an experience inside of yourself by watching me? And are you not having an experience inside of yourself always by doing anything outside of you? In the sense that when you eat a cake, you feel good. It's an experience inside of yourself. When you see something, it causes certain chemical reactions within your body, certain emotional frequencies and certain thoughts. That's an inner experience. And therefore, what I'm aiming to convey here is that when we go out and do CE-5s and we see ships or encounter other entities, that is an internal experience. And the way we make sense of it internally defines how far we will go in that encounter and how far we will go on that adventure. And that's the same for life. One of the very first few messages that I received, let's say from our galactic friends, is that the priority number one is to be who I am as best as I can, because that is why I was born. That is who I was created to be, is who I am fully, and so are you, right? Creation makes no mistake. Creation creates things for a purpose. Therefore, we each have a purpose, and our primary goal on this planet is to find out what our purpose is. And our purpose is who we are truly deep inside. It's what makes us passionate and what makes us happy and joyful every single day. So the one key that I was recommended before even going out and learning about meditation is to learn about my own inner self and who I am at my core inside of me. Obviously, I'm still discovering this, and I'm very excited to keep discovering it. That's the purpose and journey of life. So I believe that exploring your own inner space and understanding who you are inside and understanding consciousness and becoming a mindful person, someone that can be clear on things, will assist you in forwarding your journey with advanced societies out there, because they vibrate on a much higher frequency. And the more we travel deep inside of ourselves, the more we can raise our frequency. The clearer we become, the lighter we become by letting go of belief systems that no longer serve us, the lighter we become, so to speak. Therefore, the quicker we can engage with our star brothers and sisters out there. So yeah, guys, I just want to say thank you very much for tuning in. This is how, in my perspective, consciousness relates to ET contact. Thank you, Alien Protocols. I really appreciate you as well, and I love your videos. And I really must say that I must apologize for not getting back to you on your email. And I believe that it's an amazing work that you're doing. I would love to be involved. And I highly encourage you to keep going. And anyone else out there that are passionate about sharing love and sharing truth and sharing this word with people out there, I encourage you to do that. That's really, for me, one of the most passionate things I could be doing, is sharing light and love with others and being light and love myself. Remember that the best thing you can do to change the world is to be the change yourself that you wish to see. Going outside of yourself and changing things will not help. Everyone's been trying to do that. I think it's time that we start looking inside and changing and fixing things inside of us before we fix things outside. Because if you fix things inside of you, naturally things outside of you will take their shape and form in the way that is a preference and is suited to your own particular life path at that moment. So yeah, I just want to see those comments quickly. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your awesome response and your feedback. I really appreciate it. So I got Marin Thompson here, who says, I don't think our extraterrestrial local friends think that we are ready for open public disclosure. I think that we humans would really freak out. I agree with you, Marin. I think that that's why, as they say, UFOs don't just arrive and land on the White House lawn. I think that would really freak out a lot of people. And it just wouldn't serve the current journey that we're on. It just wouldn't make sense. And that's why the ETs and our friends are encouraging us to grow inside of ourselves primarily, because if you grow inside, then you can handle anything that's thrown your way. Remember, a cup of water cannot overflow. If you see your consciousness or your awareness as a cup of water that is constantly flowing, you can never experience something that is going to be too much for you. It will just simply overflow, and you'll always be able to handle everything that you need to handle. So if you're making ET contact, wherever, or whether you are going towards the physical contact and more, that means that you are in a space within yourself and within your own journey that is reflective of the possibility of you making that kind of contact. Therefore, there is never anything to fear, because you can never experience more than what you can handle. That is a rule that I live by, and I really believe that it has helped me so much on my journey. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it. If you have other comments or questions, even if you're rewatching this video after, feel free to watch it. If you're not too sure what a CE-5 is, feel free to have a look at our other videos where we explain CE-5s in more detail. I know that I have a podcast number 1 that's out there that explains that. I'm definitely planning on making more podcasts in the future with people that are in the game and really want to speak about it. And otherwise, just subscribe to as many channels as you can that and resonates inside of you. You always have the answer inside of you. That is something that you must believe. You are always supported. You can always rely on your internal intuition to make sense of things, and understand that life is simple. Life is generally fundamentally simple. So if it starts getting complicated, maybe you're missing something, and maybe you must bring it back to simplicity and understand it in that way. I'm just going to read a couple of other comments from Paul Walton. I feel a little bit overwhelmed with my awakening. Paul, if I may ask, what is it that you are feeling overwhelmed by at the moment? If you don't mind responding, I will then be able to maybe assist you a bit further. Marin Thompson. Oh, Alien Protocols. If you feel any fear, ground yourself in the profound power of love. Absolutely true. Thank you, Alien Protocols. I absolutely agree. Love is the most powerful vibration there is. And understand that if you're in fear, then it's just the opposite of love. And what is fear? Think about it. What is fear? Fear is a messenger. It's telling you that whatever you're believing in that moment is out of alignment with who you are. Therefore, it doesn't feel good. And the not feeling good is just a push just to get you to change your perspective in that moment so you can feel better after. So if you employ the powers of love, then I really believe that your fear will be able to dissipate over time and you'll be able to ground yourself much more easily. Thank you, Ellen Protocols. Great feedback. Marin Thompson, yes, I have had a close encounter of the second kind, which with missing time of half an hour back in 2005. And yes, I freaked out a little bit, but I've opened my eyes to the fact that we are not alone. Amazing, Marin. Wow, that's an incredible experience. Another comment from Marin. You are right about that we all need simplicity. Fear is a negative and illogical emotion. I agree. Thank you. So that is what fear is. It's illogical, meaning it makes no sense with where we are at in that moment. And that's why fear is simply a messenger that knocks on your door. It's like a courier guy. If a courier brings you a parcel to your door and keeps knocking on your door and you don't answer the door, it's going to keep coming back and it's going to keep employing bigger means to get your door down so you can get that parcel to you. And the parcel is simply a message that says whatever you're believing in that moment that makes you afraid is not true with your core frequency. It is not true with who you are at your very core being. And therefore, when you realize that it's nonsensical and it's not true, immediately you've already replaced it. And you will take on a new belief that makes more sense. And you will feel the emotions shift from one of fear to one of acceptance and love and joy, obviously. So, Marin, thank you very much for your description of your second kind of encounter with an hour and a half missing in 2005. That is quite an experience. I'm not going to lie. I personally have never experienced that, or maybe I don't remember. But this is something that I believe there is nothing to fear in the sense that, like I said, with the cup, you can never experience what you cannot handle. So anything that you experience is within your paradigm and within your frame of being able to handle. So there's no need to fear in the future. What I would suggest is if ever you get those type of encounters again, or even if you don't, right now, right here and now, you can still send a message to those beings that worked with you on that time and just send love and just maybe ask for tips of clarification if ever you are not clear. Remember that the more you clarify things for yourself, the easier things become in the future. So, Marin, I maybe suggest that you go into a meditation, that you recall the time in 2005 when you had missing time, and maybe be as still as you can and allow anything to come through and take responsibility for what comes through and just simply put out a statement or a question with anything that you have if you are seeking clarity about that particular episode. Again, consciousness is a non-local field, therefore that even if that was in 2005 and we're in 2018 today, it is still relevant and you can still get answers for that because everything exists here and now. That is the fourth law of the universe, is that everything exists here and now. Change is the only constant except for the first four laws, which I have not said yet. I will share with you my four laws of the universe very quickly. Number one, you exist. You can't do anything about that. You exist. Number two, the one is all, the all is one, meaning that holographically the universe is a hologram. Therefore, what happens with holograms? When you take a small, even the smallest fragment of that hologram, and you take it away from the hologram, that smallest fragment will have the entire hologram reflected within it, or the potential for the entire hologram, meaning that you are part of God and God is part of you, or the universe is part of you and you are part of the universe, or all that is, depending on how you phrase that for yourself. Whatever works for you, works for you. We each have our own truth, and therefore that's what we share in common, is that each of our truths are true for us. So law number three is that what you put out is what you get back, simple law of attraction. Law number four is what I just described with everything existing here and now. Time is simply an illusion, meaning that physical reality or creation itself is always happening here and now. You can never go to the past, you can never go into the future. You can only do that in your mind and inside of your own consciousness. And law number five, change is the only constant, except for the first four laws. And where I really subscribe to these laws because I really believe that they make a lot of sense to me. And I also got them from a source that I particularly really enjoy getting my information from, and that has really helped me on my journey. And that is an extraterrestrial entity called Bashar, who is channeled through a human being called Daryl Anker. If you've never heard of him, I highly recommend you have a look. Maybe it will resonate, maybe it won't. Again, we're all different people, so we all react to different information differently. And so it's important to know inside of ourselves what works for us without needing to devalue other teachers or other people out there if they don't work for you, because they are working for other people. But they are not working for you, that's fine. There are people that will work for you and with you to teach you what you need to teach, and vice versa. All right. Marin Thompson, my close encounter of the second kind back in 2005 was a positive and emotionally shaping experience that taught me how to control my emotions Netta like Dr. Spock from Star Trek. Fantastic, Marin. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's so cool. I'm so glad that you had a positive experience around that. And I know that it's serving you positively at this very moment. So, yeah. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I thank you all for being a part of this channel and being a part of this movement. It is possibly the most important movement that is going on this planet to this day, and will continue to do so in the next couple of decades. So if you haven't joined the movement yet, I highly encourage you to do so. Look into the resources that we have available on this website or on other websites and other channels. There is so much information out there that you could get lost in. So make sure you don't get lost in it by only taking in information that makes sense inside of you. And because you have all the answers, you know everything inside of you, and you always have the ability to deal with what you need to deal with, meaning that you can never experience too much of what you cannot deal with. So thank you, guys. Paul, thank you so much. I really appreciate your guys' feedback. Alien Protocols, thank you for always tuning in, brother, and all the best with your work. You are an absolute legend. I respect you so much, and I'm very happy that there are other people out there that are on similar frequencies that are also doing this work. I know there are way more, and I know that this movement is just growing in strength, and it is up to us to hold the fort and to keep going forward. We are pioneers in this, and it's important that we ground ourselves in that understanding. Final word, leaving you with this, is to keep meditating, keep being mindful, keep your inner dialogues positive, and keep exploring your own inner consciousness. Only by doing so can you really expand your own external experience of life. Keep swimming inside. Remember, you are the change you wish to see. And again, I thank you all so much for tuning in. It was such a pleasure to be here with you all. And for those re-watching this video after, thank you so much. Subscribe, and I'll see you all very soon. Thanks, guys. Cheers.